our Chief wagon. I mean, this is the biggest, baddest wagon. These things are so cool.
Wayne Carini spent years turning forgotten classics into gold on chasing classic cars. But what really happened behind the scenes? His story hides lawsuits, struggles, and a surprising ending. Early passion. Wayne Carini's love for cars didn't come from books or auctions. It started in his father's garage in Portland, Connecticut. His father, Robert, was already known in the world of restoration, carefully rebuilding classics with patience and skill. Wayne watched, learned, and slowly fell in love with the smell of engines and the shine of chrome. By the age of 9, Wayne was not just watching, he was driving a Ferrari 250. Imagine being a child and holding the wheel of one of the world's most iconic cars. That moment locked his destiny. Cars were no longer just machines to him. They were living history, filled with stories waiting to be told. The rise. Wayne grew into one of the most respected restorers in the United States. His business, F40 Motorsports, wasn't just about selling cars, but about treating them as cultural treasures. Collectors trusted him because he wasn't flashy. He was deliberate. He cared about authenticity. Then, in 2008, his life changed forever. Discovery's Velocity channel launched Chasing Classic Cars. Unlike the loud, overproduced shows of the era, Wayne's program was slow, patient, and authentic. He walked into barns and garages, brushed off the dust, and unveiled forgotten legends. Audiences felt like they were right there with him, witnessing history come alive. He didn't need drama or shouting. His quiet passion did all the work. Over 17 seasons, Chasing Classic Cars aired in more than 40 countries, turning Wayne into the face of the classic car world. But with fame comes pressure, and with pressure comes cracks that no amount of polish can hide. The Pierce Arrow. The first major controversy came in 2018. The car at the center of it all was a 1934 Pierce Arrow coupe. Years earlier, in 2010, an Australian collector named Robert Richmond paid $98,000 for the car through an acquaintance, Gary Dixo. Richmond believed the car was his, but Gary registered it under his own name and held onto it. By 2017, Gary was facing financial problems. He decided to sell the coupe. Wayne was asked to appraise it. With his sharp eye, he valued it at around $110,000 to $120,000. Eventually, he purchased it himself. On the surface, it seemed like a clean transaction. Wayne had seen the paperwork. Everything looked legitimate. But Gary had faked the documents. Richmond, still believing he owned the car, discovered Wayne had it. Outraged, he filed a lawsuit against Wayne, F40 Motorsports, and others. For Wayne, this was a shock. He hadn't schemed, hadn't lied, hadn't stolen. He had simply trusted the paperwork. Yet his name was suddenly tied to fraud. Court filings later cleared Wayne of wrongdoing. The judge ruled that he had acted in good faith, but that didn't stop the damage. Headlines spread quickly. The story of Wayne being sued overshadowed the fact that he was innocent. In the collector car world, trust is everything. Even a rumor can shake reputations, and Wayne had to carry the weight of suspicion long after the case ended. The Lamborghini problem. The Pierce Arrow wasn't the only time Wayne's name appeared in a dispute. Back in 2011, a Lamborghini Gallardo brought him another headache. The car was advertised as including a rare luxury luggage package valued at nearly $88,000. For the buyer, this was not a side note. It was the reason they finalized the purchase. The sale was completed, and the buyer waited for delivery. When the Gallardo arrived, the luggage package was missing. What should have been a minor issue turned into months of frustration. The buyer reached out again and again, but answers were delayed. According to accounts on Lamborghini Talk, an online forum, Communication from F40 Motorsports felt inconsistent and slow. Eventually, Wayne personally intervened. The luggage and the car's spare key were finally shipped via FedEx. The matter ended outside of court, but the damage was already done. The buyer described the ordeal as deeply frustrating. For someone spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, waiting months for a promised package felt like betrayal. Even though Wayne resolved it, the whispers continued. Was F40 Motorsports stretched too thin? Was Wayne's growing fame making it harder to deliver the customer experience he once promised? Fragile reputation. These two incidents may sound small in the bigger picture, but in the world Wayne inhabited, they were enormous. Classic cars aren't just cars. They are investments, stories, and pieces of history. Buyers don't just purchase vehicles. They purchase trust. For years, Wayne had built his reputation on that trust. He was the safe pair of hands in a business filled with shady dealers and forged documents. But once his name appeared in lawsuits and forums, even if he was innocent, his reputation was no longer untouchable. Auto Week once observed that in the collector market, even the faintest hint of controversy can redirect millions in business. That was the razor's edge Wayne was now walking. Innocence didn't matter as much as perception. The bigger lesson. What these stories revealed was more than Wayne's vulnerabilities. They exposed the fragile nature of the entire collector car industry. Ownership histories often stretch across continents and decades. Paperwork can be lost, forged, or deliberately manipulated. Wayne himself admitted this after the Pierce Arrow case. "You can't always know the full history of a car," he said in an interview, "but you rely on the documents as proof." That single statement summed up the dilemma. Even an expert with decades of experience, even a man celebrated around the world, can be caught in the traps of fraudulent paperwork and poor communication. The man behind the fame. Away from lawsuits and television lights, Wayne was facing his own personal challenges. His daughter, Lindsay, had been diagnosed with autism. Instead of retreating, Wayne became an advocate, using his platform to raise awareness and funds. This side of Wayne rarely appeared on television, but it defined him. Cars were his passion. Family was his purpose. Those close to him describe him as humble, soft-spoken, and deeply loyal to his wife and daughters. It's this contrast that makes Wayne's story so compelling. To millions, he was the calm, knowledgeable car whisperer. But behind the curtain, he was also a father, a businessman, and a man trying to balance extraordinary fame with ordinary struggles. The question. When people ask what really happened to Wayne Carini, they expect a scandal that destroyed him. But the truth is more complicated. Wayne wasn't ruined by fraud or dishonesty. He was tested by them. The Pierce Arrow lawsuit, the Lamborghini dispute, the slow cracks in his reputation. They all told the world that even legends are human. They stumble. They trust the wrong people. They face headlines that twist perception. What matters is not that Wayne stumbled. What matters is how he responded. Instead of hiding, he strengthened his processes. Instead of denying mistakes, he admitted the risks of his industry. And instead of quitting, he kept chasing cars, because passion doesn't vanish with controversy. Pressure behind the fame. When Chasing Classic Cars first aired in 2008, Wayne seemed almost untouched by the spotlight. He was calm, soft-spoken, and obsessed with detail. But what viewers didn't see was the immense pressure behind every episode. Running F40 Motorsports was already a full-time job. Now Wayne had to balance television production schedules, travel for filming, demanding clients, and the delicate work of restoration itself. Cameras might show a barn find taking a few minutes, but in reality, Weeks of negotiations and hours of delicate work were behind every scene. The lawsuits only made things harder. By the time the Pierce-Arrow dispute hit the courts, Wayne wasn't just a businessman, he was a public figure. Every mention of his name carried headlines, every controversy spread across car forums, and every mistake risked snowballing into reputational damage. Wayne once admitted that while television was exciting, it pulled him away from what he truly loved, the quiet work of hands-on restoration. Fame made him visible. Fame also made him vulnerable. The quiet end of chasing classic cars. By 2021, the series had completed 17 successful seasons. Fans were shocked when it ended with little warning. There was no farewell episode, no dramatic announcement. It simply stopped. Why would such a popular show disappear? The answer wasn't a scandal. Instead, it was a mix of subtle but heavy reasons. Television had changed. Streaming was taking over. Networks were shifting focus. And for Wayne himself, balancing his growing business, his personal life, and the constant weight of production became exhausting. Wayne didn't call it quitting. He often described it as the show having run its course. After more than a decade, he wanted to step back and recenter his focus. The end wasn't sudden from his perspective. It was the natural conclusion of a long, successful run. But for fans, the silence was unsettling. They had grown used to Wayne's calm presence, to the sound of him turning a key in an old ignition, to the thrill of seeing dust transform into shine. And now, without warning, that presence was gone. The timing didn't help. The controversies of the Pierce-Arrow and Lamborghini disputes were still fresh in the minds of some collectors. For outsiders, the sudden end of chasing classic cars only fueled speculation. Had lawsuits ruined his reputation? Was that the reason the show was gone? Wayne never directly tied the lawsuits to the ending, yet the overlap in timing left plenty of room for doubt. The reputation battle. Wayne's career was built on trust. He wasn't just a dealer. He was a guide into the mysterious, sometimes dangerous world of classic cars. Clients handed him six-figure checks because they trusted his word, his experience, his name. When the Pierce-Arrow lawsuit hit, even though the judge cleared him, the stain remained. In business, perception often matters more than truth. A collector might read the first article about Wayne being sued, but never see the update that he was cleared. The Lamborghini dispute reinforced this shadow. The luggage package eventually arrived, but the buyer's frustration lived on in car forums, where stories tend to echo for years. In industries built on word of mouth, a single unresolved review can undo 100 satisfied customers. Wayne knew this. He addressed it not with denial, but with change. At F40 Motorsports, processes tightened. Documentation checks became stricter. Transparency with clients increased, and Wayne himself became more cautious in every deal. But there was another layer to the reputation battle. Fame itself had magnified everything. Before television, a mistake in Wayne's shop might have been an inconvenience to a single client. After television, that same mistake could travel across the world in minutes. Fame gave Wayne credibility. Fame also raised the stakes of every misstep. The human cost. Fame, lawsuits, and business stress might seem like enough, but Wayne's personal life added its own weight. His daughter Lindsay had been diagnosed with autism as a child. Rather than step back from the public eye, Wayne used his fame to raise awareness and funds for autism research and support programs. This advocacy showed the man behind the fame. To him, family always came first. Cars were his passion, but his purpose was deeper. Those who knew Wayne personally described him as deeply loyal to his wife and daughters, a man who carried his family's struggles quietly while the world demanded more from his career. It was this contrast that defined him. On screen, Wayne seemed calm and unshakable. Off-screen, he was juggling family commitments, lawsuits, angry clients, and the unrelenting stress of being both a businessman and a celebrity. Many fans never knew this side of him, and maybe that's what made the ending of Chasing Classic Cars feel so mysterious. Wayne wasn't vanishing. He was protecting his balance, his peace, and his family. What he did next. After the cameras stopped, Wayne didn't retire. He didn't disappear. Instead, he returned to the core of what he loved: finding, restoring, and selling classic cars. At F40 Motorsports, he continued to buy and sell vehicles for collectors. He still appeared at auctions, still gave interviews, and still carried the reputation of a man whose opinion mattered in the industry. But without the demands of television production, Wayne could move at his own pace. He no longer had to create drama for viewers or stretch himself across multiple worlds. He could simply focus on the cars. He also continued his advocacy work. Charity events, speaking engagements, and autism awareness became central to his post-show life. For Wayne, this balance was a return to his roots. Fame had been a chapter, but not the whole book. Wayne's story revealed truths that go beyond one man. It showed the fragility of the collector car industry. Ownership disputes, forged documents, and false promises are not rare. They are constant threats. Wayne's experience also reminded collectors of something else. Even the most trusted names can be caught in the storm. If a man with decades of experience and a global reputation could be pulled into lawsuits through no fault of his own, then anyone could. In many ways, Wayne became a cautionary tale, not of dishonesty, but of vulnerability. His story taught the industry that passion must always be matched by caution, that paperwork is as valuable as chrome, and that reputation can vanish in a single lawsuit. So what is Wayne Carini's legacy? He wasn't ruined by controversy. He wasn't destroyed by lawsuits. He was tested by them. And while his reputation took blows, his resilience kept him standing. Wayne's legacy lies in the stories he told, the barns he opened, the treasures he revealed. For more than a decade, he showed the world the thrill of discovering history under a tarp, the joy of hearing an old engine roar again, and the beauty of cars as living memory. But his legacy also lies in his humanity. He showed that even legends stumble, that even trusted figures face doubt, and that even passion cannot escape the weight of business and fame. For fans, Wayne Carini will always be the man who made them believe that hidden treasures were still out there, waiting to be found. For the industry, he will always be a reminder of how fragile trust can be, and how important it is to protect it at all costs. What really happened to Wayne Carini? He built a dream from the ground up. He brought millions into the secret world of classic cars. He faced lawsuits that threatened his reputation. He ended one of television's most beloved car shows quietly, without fanfare. And through it all, he remained a man defined not by scandal, but by survival. Wayne's story isn't about a fall, it's about resilience. It's about a man who kept chasing cars even when the road got rough. And maybe that's why his story still matters. Because in the end, the cars are only part of it. The real story is the man who chased them, stumbled, and kept going. If Wayne Carini's journey taught you something about passion, trust, and survival, subscribe now and join us for more untold stories of legends who shaped the world of classic cars.